In the middle of a super secretive organization, something big happens. It's like a spy movie, but for real. The CIA, which is like the superheroes of national security, gets a shock. Hackers sneak into their super secret stuff, leaving the big bosses at the CIA freaking out. Even the global spy community is on high alert. Can you believe it? A high school student, just a regular kid, supposedly hacks into the CIA boss's personal email. It's a chilly day in Ottawa, October 2015, when John Brennan, the head of the CIA, gets a weird phone call. Some mystery person calls him a loser and demands a crazy amount of money, $5 trillion. What a nerve. But why would someone do this? Turns out it's part of a bigger plan. The government says it's all about stealing identities, bothering important people, and causing chaos online. The person behind the call faces big trouble for messing with national security. Let's explore the story of this mysterious teenager from England and his group, the Crackers with Attitude, who caused quite a stir across the pond in the United States. There's a 15-year-old boy living in England, and he's quite the enigma. He goes by the nickname Cracker and hangs out with a crew known as Crackers with Attitude. Together, they're not your typical bunch of teenagers. They're on a mission to shake things up, especially across the ocean in the US. They're into all sorts of mischief, like spilling secret information and even reaching out to a famous whistleblower named Julian Assange. They like to call themselves anonymous, but really they're just a group of young folks with strong opinions about politics and wars. Now let's zoom in on one of them, a guy called Default. He's a regular American kid who's crazy about soccer and video games. But there's a twist in his story. He's not exactly thrilled with his dad, who happens to work for the government. So, in a rebellious move, he dives headfirst into the hacking world. At first, it's all about harmless fun, like cracking codes in video games. But soon, he finds himself caught up in the thrill of hacking bigger and more serious stuff. It's no doubt exciting, but simultaneously dangerous. Default and his pals are treading a fine line between mischief and mayhem, all while navigating the complexities of family and friendship. Will they get away with their hacking escapades, or will they learn some tough lessons along the way? Only time will tell in this thrilling tale of teenage rebellion and digital daring. In 2015, this group called Anonymous became super famous for causing chaos online. They were like modern-day Robin Hoods, stealing from the rich and giving to, well, themselves. Default is fascinated by their power and joins in, but he soon realizes it's not all fun and games. The group is full of spies and traitors, and it's like a war zone online. Still, the idea of being a cyber hero is too tempting for Default, so he keeps hacking away even though he knows it's risky business. But hey, who said being a hero was easy? Things are getting intense in the world of hacking. So, Anonymous, the big shot hackers, have become so big that it's hard to know who's who anymore. They're fighting and leaking personal info left and right. But here's the twist. Some hackers are doing all the hard work, but Anonymous gets all the credit in the media. Enter our protagonist, Default. Tired of being overshadowed by the notorious Anonymous group, he decides to join forces with some smaller hacker crews. These groups share his disdain for Anonymous, but still engage in hacking for fun or to make bold political statements. As they hone their skills, Default and his new cohorts become adept at hacking. They even possess something called a botnet, which acts like a legion of infected computers under their command. With this powerful tool, they can unleash viruses across the internet or launch attacks on major servers, causing them to crash. It's like a scene straight out of a high-stakes spy thriller. Default's curiosity leads him to uncover a major breach. A server belonging to a Canadian medical school has been compromised. And what's more, he discovers a treasure trove of student loan records. Some students are drowning in debt, owing tens of thousands of dollars each. Fueled by a sense of justice, Default takes action. He boldly presses the delete button, erasing a staggering $9.4 million worth of student debt in one fell swoop. It's a move that echoes the legendary deeds of Robin Hood himself. Ah, here comes the twist. You see, when Default hits that delete button, he feels like a modern-day hero, righting the wrongs of the world. But little does he know, deleted data isn't simply wiped from existence. There are backups and hard copies floating around, just waiting to resurface. However, in the heat of the moment, Default's sense of righteousness outweighs any thoughts of consequences. He's driven by a burning desire to enact change, even if it means bending the rules along the way. And the story doesn't end with just one daring act. Default and his hacker crew aren't just out for thrills, they're on a mission to stand up for what they believe in. Take, for instance, the shocking revelation that bestiality was legal in Denmark until recently. It's a disturbing reality that they simply can't ignore. So they put their hacking prowess to good use, taking down websites that promote such atrocities and spreading awareness about the horrors of animal abuse. It's a noble crusade fueled by their passion for justice and their determination to make a difference in the world. But here's something more interesting. Even though Default's crew does all the hard work, Anonymous keeps getting all the credit. It's frustrating, but they keep fighting the good fight. And their efforts pay off when Denmark finally bans bestiality, thanks to all the attention they've brought to the issue. And it's not all about activism. Default's pretty savvy with cryptocurrency too. He's sitting on over 1,000 bitcoins, which today would be worth around $40 million. Not bad for a kid who started out just messing around with computers, huh? Wow, Default is really going all out to protect his bitcoins and keep his hacking activities under wraps. He's super paranoid about getting caught, and you can't blame him with all those powerful enemies he's making. Default isn't taking any chances when it comes to covering his tracks. He's serious about staying under the radar, so he avoids using his own Wi-Fi like the plague. Instead, he sneaks onto the Dairy Queen Wi-Fi down the street, blending into the crowd of milkshake-craving customers. And here's the kicker. He only connects from hidden spots, adding an extra layer of secrecy to his cyber escapades. Plus, he's not stopping there. Every time he powers down his devices, he's encrypting them to lock out any prying eyes. It's like he's wrapping his digital life in layers of armor, just to stay one step ahead of the game. But even with all these precautions, Default knows he's dancing on thin ice. He's well aware of the risks, just like that famous whistleblower, Edward Snowden. Snowden's bold move to expose government surveillance sent shockwaves across the globe, and Default sees him as a beacon of courage. Inspired by Snowden's bravery, Default is determined to take a stand against invasive surveillance and fight tooth and nail for the right to privacy. Across the pond in England, there's another kid stirring up trouble in the digital realm. Meet Cracker, a young firebrand who's had it up to here with government corruption and Big Brother watching our every move. He rallies his own band of misfits, forming the formidable hacker group known as Crackers with Attitude, their target. None other than the big shots themselves. Cracker sets his sights on James Clapper, the former head honcho of US intelligence under President Obama. And guess what? Cracker pulls off the unthinkable. He hacks into Clapper's email and airs his dirty laundry for all to see, sending shockwaves through the corridors of power and making waves on social media like Twitter. It's a digital David versus Goliath showdown, and Cracker isn't backing down without a fight. Default is totally impressed by Cracker's skills and gives him a shout-out on social media. They start chatting and team up with other hackers to take down more bigwigs in the intelligence community. Their goal? To show these officials that they're not untouchable and to embarrass them for their shady deeds. It's like a real-life spy thriller with hackers fighting for justice and privacy rights. Who knew the internet could be such a battleground? Things really heat up in the hacking world as Default and Cracker go head-to-head with some seriously powerful foes. Cracker sets his sights on John Brennan, the big boss at the CIA, and he's not playing around. Using some clever tricks, Cracker manages to hack into Brennan's email and even gets his private cell number. He and Default start bombarding Brennan with prank calls, causing the CIA director to go into hiding. But Cracker doesn't stop there. He gets his hands on some super sensitive documents and shares them with WikiLeaks. The fallout is huge. The CIA has to shell out $1.5 million in damages, and some operatives even have to go into hiding themselves. Cracker may have exposed some serious flaws in the agency's security, but it comes at a cost. The FBI raids Default's home, seizing his equipment and landing him in federal prison for 5 years. Cracker's not immune either. British police raid his place and haul them off to a juvenile detention center. It's a harsh wake-up call for both of them, showing that messing with the government can have serious consequences. As they reflect on their actions, Default and Cracker come to realize that maybe they bit off more than they could chew. But the fight for privacy and justice isn't over yet. With the government renewing controversial surveillance programs, it's clear that there's still work to be done. It's a cautionary tale of the dangers of hacking and the price of standing up to power. Whether you're a principled whistleblower like Snowden or just a kid with a computer, meddling with the government can change your life forever. The fallout from Default and Cracker's hacking activities is significant. The CIA has to pay a hefty $1.5 million in damages, and some of its agents are now on the run. Cracker's successful hacks reveal serious security flaws in the agency, but the victory comes with a high cost. Default faces severe consequences. The FBI raids his home, confiscates his equipment and sentences him to 5 years in federal prison. Meanwhile, Cracker is taken to a juvenile detention center after British police storm his residence. Let's remember the importance of protecting our freedoms and promoting transparency in the digital age as we think about their journey. If you found this story thought-provoking, please remember to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going about the power dynamics between individuals and the institutions that govern us.